Hi, everybody. This is day 1349, and there's no sign of life. No sign of life for Richard Halliday, the distinguished honor graduate of his cycle in basic training in AIT, whistleblower for Fort Bliss, the Vanessa Guillen first absent soldier. No sign of life. And but we are committed to getting justice for Richard. And we're getting there. It's all in God's timing. And but while that is happening, we are collecting evidence. We're collecting evidence, and we are asking for open records and open records and open records and writing letters and writing letters and writing letters and even petitioning. And I'm thinking about doing this petition to ask the military to take the uniforms and the stars away from these generals. What do we have to lose? I think they absolutely should not be wearing our beautiful uniforms and carrying the stars and getting all the benefits when they have betrayed us. And so, what would that look like? And I did write a few notes. Um, I did write a few notes because there are some major violations that Sean Bernabe, they're so big. The violations in regards to Richard's case, our son's case, are so big that there is no question that he should be removed from his position. Our uniform. These are our uniforms. Our uniforms taken away from him. Our stars taken away from him. He has betrayed his oath, betrayed the trust that we have placed in him. And he should not be in that uniform with those stars. He needs, I think he needs to be arrested. He needs to be arrested. And, I'll leave that to the courts. I'll leave that to a court martial for the major violations. And what are some of those violations? Well, for an authorized search of our son. And what do we mean by that? Well, you might not remember. I remember as clear as day, is getting a phone call during Christmas of 2020. And that phone call said to us, did you know that Major General, at that time he was Major General, now he's a Lieutenant General, Sean Bernabe is searching for your son right now in the mock Afghanistan village on Fort Bliss. The remains of your son. I said, no, we did not know that. We had just gotten home from El Paso for Christmas with our family. We had been in El Paso for over 3 months, living there, meeting with him. He had our number. He has our number. We have a CAO, Casualty Affairs Officer, at the time that also betrayed us. I'm going to get into that too. But absolutely, we did not know. And the violation of that is so big. And so going through all of the evidence that we have, collecting all the evidence, writing the evidence, passing it forward, right? So that it is in everybody's file, that everybody has in their files what we have, right? Everybody, lots of people all across the spectrum, because we know that we have a corrupt government and we have a corrupt military leadership. The leadership in the military is 44 four-star generals have betrayed us, are serving foreign and domestic enemies. We know that because we have all the evidence that shows that. And what they did during COVID proved that to the people of this country. And what's going on right now would not be able to happen if we had an honorable, duty-driven 44 four-star generals, because we have 44 four-star generals and admirals. Okay? It's not like they don't have the manpower or the money to do it. And I'm not talking about making arrests or anything. I'm just saying wielding the influence of the military would stop everything. And they have millions, maybe even billions, going towards asymmetric warfare tactics. They have keyboard warriors. They have farms of keyboard warriors, because war is controlling the narrative. That's a big part of the war machine. If they wielded their power to defend the Constitution, which is the land and the people, most of what's happening right now that's endangering our country would not be able to happen. And so they have betrayed us and are serving foreign and domestic enemies, clearly. So what did Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe do to deserve the removal of his position, that, or a petition to remove him? A petition to remove him. I think we need to petition to remove him. Petition to remove Donna Martin. I think that is very, very important, because she's IG. And it's very hard to move forward in Richard's case when Donna Martin has to investigate Donna Martin, because she was CID. She led the fake staged dog and pony show task force find Richard Halliday without an op board. Okay, that was her, and the violations that were committed were by her. And IG, now she's IG. She is the commanding general, the commander of the first female, I believe it's the first female, I don't know, IG in the Army. And so she would have to be inspecting herself. Now that's a conflict of interest. That's not going to happen. That's why, this case is not already broken, because there's no excuse that this case should not be already broken and solved, and that we should already have accountability. But see, she needs to be arrested herself. She needs to arrest herself. And she needs to be defrocked. Is that what you would call it? She needs to be removed. We've entrusted to her, and the stars that we've entrusted to her, because every one of those stars is not, it comes with a lot of benefits and pay, but those stars represent the absolute magnitude of responsibility that we are entrusting to them over our volunteer sons and daughters. So 3 stars is a lot of responsibility. It's over thousands of our volunteer sons and daughters. And she has betrayed that over and over again. But I want to focus on Sean Bernabe, because he conducted an unauthorized search. Okay, there's no op ord. There's no operational order. That means they did everything off the books. Okay, they did not document. And seemingly, apparently, they did not, unless there's a parallel file. If there's a parallel file, I think that we should have access to it. And in that parallel file, maybe there would be the order by McConville, General McConville, to search Fort Bliss, the mock Afghanistan village, training village, for Richard's remains. Because they absolutely knew that he was dead. And then he did not notify us that he was searching for Richard's remains. Okay? That was kept from us. And we had to hear it from a whistleblower. We had to hear it from somebody that knew they were doing it. And when we called to say, look, were you looking for our son's remains at the mock Afghanistan village? And he admitted to it. But that is an unauthorized search. Without informing or involving the family, this violates protocol, transparency requirements, and we looked up the violation of the UCMJ, and that is Article 92, failure to obey orders and regulations. It's a very, very big deal to do an unauthorized search of a missing soldier. It's a very big deal. I should see if I'm on here so I can see comments. Sorry. We're burning the midnight oil because a lot is happening behind the scenes, and I'm sorry that I'm getting on so late. But it just can't be helped. This is okay, there I see it. Okay, what is the next thing that he did? He manipulated and colluded with Fort Bliss officials to conceal crucial information regarding Richard's disappearance, which he obstructed justice, and he impeded the investigation. And what do I mean by that? Well, there's lots of examples. The K9 debacle is a huge example. Nadal Baim is a huge example, because they absolutely knew that he was the father-in-law of their 32nd ADCOM G3 Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bucalo's father-in-law. They absolutely knew who he was, and they colluded, and they manipulated, and they withheld crucial information to us. Also, the search in Mexico also is a very good example, because we were there, not in person, but with Sammy C. Sammy C. was there at the search point where we believe Richard's partial remains in that area um, were put. I don't know how else to say it. Um, and we were there. It's all time stamped, which is very important to justice. There's timestamps on everything, and those timestamps cannot be tampered with. If they're tampered with, that is a huge violation against uh, justice, right? The whole justice system. But we were live streaming at that time in that area for a long time, looking at the area in Mexico. This was in March of 2021, and the Fiscalia said that they were there. We had talked to the Department of Justice and our contact there, McMillan, Agent McMillan, who I don't have too many nice things to say about McMillan. He was up to no good. He's up to no good. And very, very callous. And he said that, he sent people to inspect that area and they found nothing. And I said, when did you go there? And he said, oh, at this and this time. I said, no way. Because we were there at that time via live stream. And via live stream, the only thing we saw was a chihuahua, the only sign of life. Well, they panicked. And there was a lot of collusion and manipulation. And we received pictures to prove it. And then that whole weekend, there was a lot of panicking, and we did get this, report to show that they were there, and we absolutely know that they were not there. And yeah, so that's a good example. So Nadal Baim, the canines, that was such a bad thing that they still won't even provide us with the name of the dog or the handler of the dog. Maybe it was Melendez, right? Maybe it was Melendez. Do you think it was Melendez? I don't know. But I thought it was military, right? It was military. Borstar, what was it? Borstar, Bortak, whatever. Um, yeah. So that is just a small example of the collusion and the manipulation. Because, and I think another good example is Joshua Lyons. So you had an officer, he was an asymmetric warfare officer. We knew from the very beginning he was up to no good because the way he introduced himself is there was no new news. No new news. Remember, I was so offended by that. No new news. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You have no new news. That's what you're going to tell a family? You have no new news? We're working real hard doing the rallies and the army. The army has no new news. That's how I met him. And of course, he's asymmetric warfare, which tells you that this was all about propaganda. And I didn't know it at the time. I knew that, I'm just thinking he's just trying to, because what he said to us was that he was just waiting, doing this liaison, casualty assistant officer duty before he retired. And, are we supposed to question that? Because absolutely that was not the truth. But we didn't know that. We didn't know that he was not telling us the truth. And so, we were like, okay, whatever. He didn't really care about our son's case. That's what we thought. But he did care. He cared an awfully lot because on his free time, he was creating an opposing side, a harassing side, asymmetric warfare site called Separatio. And, you know, uh, people were just like, what is going on? That it's kind of like it was before the other demonic site, but this is, Haley Separatio means also some kind of, let me see if I have that real quick, what that means, because I think that that's really important, um, the names that they use. Yeah, hero of death, Haley, hero of death, taking the soul out of the body, Haley Separatio. Um, and this was our casualty affairs officer creating this character, this account, this Facebook account called Haley Separatio, and calling it Countering Disinformation in the Case of a Missing Service Member. Can you believe it? He wanted to, as our liaison, counter disinformation in the case of a missing service member. Now, that's just total propaganda machine. That's a, a, a propaganda machine. That's what that was. Um, and so it went on for a little bit, and then what happened is that he, maybe he just got lazy. I don't know. And he posted up um, some kind of dig, into Find Richard Halliday, into the family, into Team Find Richard Halliday, who wants to find their loved one, their volunteer son, right? And what he accidentally did was he downloaded a PDF of a press release that we put out, and he wanted to dig in a negative way into what we said into the press release, okay? Which is totally unethical, totally against regulations. And he downloaded our PDF press release onto his Google Drive. And then he uploaded it from there. Um, and when he uploaded it, it had his name on it, Joshua A. Lyons. Okay? And we're like, what? Joshua Lyons? What? Um, yeah. So Joshua Lyons was Haley Separatio, hero of death, taking the soul out of the body, countering disinformation in the case of a missing service member. That's what one of our officers did, who's supposed to be a casualty affairs officer, but really, in reality, you know, um, he was just an asymmetric warfare, and they use the asymmetric warfare tactics that they use. I mean, he belonged to the unit that said asymmetric warfare, um, and he used that against his own people, violating his oath. I mean, this is outrageous. He also needs to be removed from our beautiful uniforms and ranks and not given one bit of benefit. Not one bit. And, really, really, let the courts decide, because that was absolutely outrageous. Because you have to understand, behind the scenes, they knew that Richard was dead. They were covering up, and still are covering up, the whereabouts of his remains. And we know that Mario Raskin Ortiz could tell us where Richard's remains are, because he's the chief medical examiner. And also double dipping over there, or maybe he has Ricardo Ortiz. Maybe he has a family member that does the same thing. I don't know. Um, you know, am I supposed to answer every question? Is Team Find Richard Halliday supposed to do everything? So we have brought them the leads. They said, bring us the leads. Now they need to do their duty. And we're not going to let them off the hook, you know? They have an obligation. And if they haven't learned their obligation, they need to learn it real quick. And that obligation is to care for our volunteer sons and daughters. And, I have a real problem with keeping criminals, or putting criminals in our beautiful uniforms. And this whole thing of, oh, well, you want to join the military or go to prison. No, we don't need any criminals filling our beautiful uniforms. We need esprit de corps. We need the Medal of Honor ethos. We need disciplined soldiers, especially in this time with all of this asymmetric warfare that's going on, all the drone warfare that's going on, the Ice Condor Day that blew to smithereens our Patriot missiles. Our Patriot missiles didn't have a chance. Because we have criminals in our uniforms leading our volunteer sons and daughters, and they are too busy being criminals than to update and redesign and make our Patriot missiles way more powerful than, or even an alert system, so that they're not blown to smithereens. But right now, our Patriot missile system is archaic. That just happened less than a month ago on Ice Condor Day, where the Ice Condor missile, launched from a drone, blew our Patriot missiles up to smithereens. They didn't have a chance. And, and Richard was Patriot missile. And clearly his leadership are criminal. We need to fill those uniforms and give those benefits and those stars and stripes to individuals that will defend the Constitution, the land, and the people. And that means to use all of their talents, everything that we give them, to make sure that we are the top of the line when it comes to weaponry and defense. And we don't have that right now. Fort Bliss is totally breached. Totally breached. They're bringing in girls during COVID, whores during COVID to party. Those aren't my words. Those are not my words. And don't forget, Thomas Kane, the Director of Emergency Services, issued them passes. And, in front of our faces, like it was a normal operating procedure. Command Sergeant Major Jake Jakovitz told us that they were bringing those girls in for morale. This is the only way they can lift morale. No, there's other ways. It's called leadership needs to defend the Constitution and want to make our weaponry and our military the best ever. But that's not what they're doing. They're poisoning them. They're letting the barracks be marketplaces for illegal drugs. They are flush with illegal weapons. There's all kinds of incidents going on. They have a suicide problem and a suicided problem. They have a sexual cult going on, sexual weird cult things going on. They also have rapes going on and sexual harassment going on. They have a huge problem with that. They have alcohol problems going on. They do not um, update our weaponry. And so, of course, the morale is low. So they have this prostitution problem. 14-year-old, they have child sexual abuse going on. A 14-year-old girl living in the barracks, not, and this is not an isolated incident. This happened also in California at Camp Pendleton. 14, I don't know what it is with 14-year-old girls. 14-year-old girl living in the barracks being pimped out. Um, yeah, that is what's going on. We have a breach. And then we have Walmart mass shooting where M4s were seen. And M4s are military weapons. And we're hearing that brown tip bullets were used. Those are military special op bullets that go along with M4s. M4s, they're compatible with M4s. That's the right word. And so I think that this is very important um, for people to understand the breach of security, because we have the breach of the border, and those people coming in are now, going and living in breaching people's homes and things. Are they going to breach our military installation? Because our military installation, the security is not there. So they can go and squat in our military installation, the squatters that are coming over. This is a real risk to our national defense. Is our national defense going to be, overcome by squatters? Wow. Wow. So this is this is a very important question. Another thing is, if you missed it yesterday, Bob Moore is no longer the editor of El Paso Matters. This is a very big development, a very big development. And I don't know why it happened. I'm hoping it's because we wrote the El Paso Community Foundation and let them know the violations that Bob Moore also has done. So let's see, I'm trying to stay on focus here because I wanted to go back to Sean Bernabe. Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe should be removed from his uniform and his rank and all benefits and privileges because he has obstructed justice in Richard's case. Not only has he conducted an unauthorized search, he also colluded and manipulated and with others in violation of Article 131, perjury, Article 134, fraudulent enlistment, appointment, or separation. Absolutely manipulating with the with Richard's file. Yeah. Obstruction of justice. That would be a violation of UCMJ Article 134, clearly obstructing justice by withholding information, falsification of evidence, suppression of witness testimonies. And this is really important there. because of Nadal Baim, because of um, I'm drawing a blank. It'll come to me. But there were several witnesses, and yeah, it is almost 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Yeah, we're burning the midnight oil. Okay, so also there was an abuse of power. Bernabe's abuse of power within the military hierarchy, um, undermining integrity and accountability, is a violation of UCMJ 133, Article 133, conduct unbecoming an officer and a gentleman. Absolutely. And his failure to uphold victims' rights, the family's rights as victims, were repeatedly disregarded and violated. Um, it was just so terrible. Absolutely so terrible, which is a violation of UCMJ Article 134, cruelty and maltreatment. Um, so that is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many more violations, and you know, of course, this case is so multifaceted that it's hard in one night to tell you everything that's going on. But Park University is back in the news. UTEP is back in the news as far as I get. I would say that they're in because Park University is not even holding live classes right now. They're only doing online classes. Why is that? Why is that? And why did Shane Smead rather break the law than answer by giving us Richard's academic record? Yeah. So there, and then of course UTEP is also in that same boat. So we're going to try again. We're going to try again to get the information that's so important to solving this case from Park University. Was Richard, uh, let's see what classes, because our information is that he took classes with Ann Ogle, he took classes with DES Thomas Kane, that he was also participating in the CID internship. Then that would directly connect him to Tavita Nusa and also Marlon Soto, that they knew him, which goes to another point, and that's the Interpol. The only way to think about the how did Interpol get this tampered photo, um, the that matches Dallas Hart instead of Richard, for Richard's yellow Interpol notice. Um, the I think, and maybe you can help me out there if you know about law enforcement, but I think the only two people that were in charge of Richard's case in order to give a photo to Interpol would be either Tavita Nusa or Marlon Soto. So it's very important that we know who gave the photo to Interpol. So that needs to be answered also. Um, yeah, there's just so much, but I want to leave it at that tonight because I want everyone to focus on this petition, and I want to hear your thoughts on should we petition to get these generals out of our uniforms, out of those stars. They have so much power. A 3-star general, a 4-star general, they have so much power. We need to remove them and replace them with those that will defend our Constitution, the land, and the people. So I think that's really, and also honor their obligation to care for our soldiers, to care for our service members. That is a very important obligation. And Sean Bernabe violated that. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Um, God bless you for sticking with us for so long and at 1 o'clock at night. But we will be back tomorrow. We are absolutely uh, committed to getting answers to where our sons' remains are. We want our sons' remains, and that is very, very, very important. So please share and please comment and please like. God bless you. Bye bye.